all I can do is give you my experience, right? Like I'm not a doctor. I don't have PhDs. I haven't done specific studies to come to the equations or results that I'm at with it. But I believe that my addiction was passed down because I was genetically predisposed, right? My father was an addict. His father was an addict. I'm the only son by my father. My brother and sister are by a different man. My mother and that whole side, they can have a glass of wine, finish half, and totally go about their business. You know, I believe I was genetically predisposed, and I also believe there were a lot of other equations that played into the factor, right? I was, you know, at the age of 7, I got my first skateboard, and that skateboard raised me, and skateboarding culture raised me, right?
Absolutely.
Because my father was a rather unsavory type of fellow, if you will. He never had a job a day in his life. He taught me one thing: if and when I go to prison, how to conduct myself. He ran with the Hells Angels, and he unfortunately succumbed to his disease of addiction and is no longer with us.
Oh, wow.
But, you know, at the age, so from a very young age, I was basically raised in a single family home. My mother carried us. My father was around just enough to let me know that he wasn't around. And so my mother was, you know, she got a job at the age of 15 at Mercy Hospital, drawing blood for $5 a pop, a phlebotomist, if you will. Again, being a single parent household, and she was doing the whole deal for me, my brother, and my sister, because my father was very undependable and unreliable, you know, the direct results of addiction. She busted her ass to become the woman that I could only aspire and pray to be. And what that looks like is went from the age of 15, drawing blood for $5 a pop, to literally working her way up the ladder to, as of 2 years ago, retiring as a nuclear physicist on the board of Mercy Hospital.
Wow.
The second longest employer in Mercy Hospital history, right? So that woman is like everything. But in saying that, my mother was working full time, right, to get us out of the position that a lot of things played a part in us getting in. And my father would come around and cause problems. So I was attracted to the skateboard and the skateboard world. So older guys helped raise me, right? Because they could drive, they'd pick me up, take me, and take me under their wing. And with that being said, on the off days that my father would show up, right, he would like practice behaviors such as at 7, taking me to the strip joint with him. And when he's in the back conducting his business, they'd leave me at the bar, and they'd prop me up on a stool, and they'd pour shots of ginger ale and Coca-Cola into those little shot glasses, right? So I would do the shots, the girls would dance for me, and my father would give me that look of approval, right? So that could potentially be grooming me into what I became. Who knows?
Right.
You know, a little bit further down the road, I had to come home and witness my father cut my mother's throat at a young age. So there was like a lot of variables that could come into play as to what I could pinpoint created or caused my outcome. I don't know. I can allude to it, but that's only because after doing a lot of internal work on myself, I've learned that my life is lived forward and learned backwards.
Yeah. Right.
At the time, I couldn't see it. Now, again, you know, God willing, in 2 or 3 weeks, May 25th, I'll be celebrating 5 years of continuous sobriety. But having remained sober long enough that I can look back and recognize the synchronicity in life's events that have led me to the here and now. Right. If that doesn't prove to me a higher power, then I don't know what does.
Yeah. Hey, congratulations on coming up on 5 years. And something I can relate to that you talk about when you're talking about the strip club. And I know that, you know, in other interviews and conversations that I can relate, like I was exposed to pornography at a very early age. So for me, I kind of found, and I know you talked about kind of finding that love. I think I had a real parallel with you on that, of kind of, all right, hey, this thing, you know, this woman, it ends, it's fine. It's just another part of that addiction that love can play, or lust, or however you want to look into that. how'd you kind of rebound from that area and getting some bearings there? Or are you still just kind of like, nah, I don't know, relationships not for me? I mean, I'm asking for my own personal selfishness and
Sure.
up to you almost as a mentor, because I'm behind you by about 3 years. So
Amazing, man.
yeah.
Nevertheless, it's still a fucking miracle.
Mhm.
You know, it's rather ironic now, right? But when I was drinking and when I was drugging, which was from the end of 16, beginning of 17 until 35, right? The only period of abstinence that I was able to sustain was due to my 1 year of incarceration. So that was by force, not by choice, that I remained abstinent. But with all that being said, 16, let's just say 17 to 35, I always had a woman, right? I always had a woman. I never not had a woman, right? Because really looking back on it now is, you know, as alcoholics, as addicts, we can get it. We just can never keep it.
Right.
So I could come up with a couple bucks, you know, I could pay the rent, the bills every month, but I would never know how to like balance a checkbook, pay things on time. Like I'm so disconnected from reality and or abnormality that the abnormal has become the normal, and paying fucking electrical bills is not normal in my life at that time. So really having a woman in my life was almost like it was a lifeline, right? It was a necessity. It was a survival mechanism because I was incapable of doing those things, which would allow me to keep a roof over my head, a shower to get into, a bed to sleep in, a refrigerator open. I was not capable of producing those results. So I would always keep a woman, right? And I didn't know that that's what it was at the time. But looking back now, I see that.
Right.
Because the reason why I see that is, I mean, I've been engaged twice, and clearly they continue to get between me and my addiction, so they had to fucking go.
Sure.
And women over women over women over women. And now I'm in the best condition I've ever been in, physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, you name it. I'm aces across the board, and I'm fucking single. The reality is like I'm okay with being with me for the first time in my life. And again, after doing these a lot of internal work, which has allowed me to reach the desired external results, what I've learned is that the most important thing in my life is my time. And it's the most valuable thing. And I will not lower my standards because there's no reason for me to do that.